name is Xiaozhou Li, and I'm from Tampere. This is my second time in Jyväskylä. Actually, the first time was back in 2009. I was a freshman here with my tutor. I was drinking water and everything on the train, and I got really drunk and threw up under a tree in the city center and got thrown out from the bar. Anyway, this is second time in Jyväskylä, and it's nice. And because at first I thought it could be kind of a small event like the last time we had in Tampere, we were talking about cars. So, and they say like in the WeChat group, like you should dress like comfortably. So comfortably, I must dress. So, and I see all the gentlemen wear like a couple of seconds. So, well done. Like, anyway, gamification is what I'm gonna talk about. Because I cannot think about the title, I just say that's what I'm gonna talk about. Like, what is gamification and how to do gamification, mostly like in research and academic research. So that's what I'm gonna talk about today. So you think, okay, cool. This is the outline of my presentation. So I talk about myself and the concept, the research domain, design, how to design gamification, and what is one small idea I have and published in gamification design with goal modeling, kind of a new method, and with some references. And myself, I'm a PhD student right now in University of Tampere. Starting from 2014, I have a master's degree in software development in UTA, and also another master's degree in internet game study in UTA. And what I'm doing right now is about the mobility requirements engineering and maintenance for mobile apps. Actually, nothing related with gamification, actually, but I'm interested in game studies, gamification, and many things. Like you can see, like RE maintenance, mobile apps, agile development, machine learning, whatever things. This is about me. And I have some publications as a PhD student, and different topics, different conferences, and not so good conferences, but some. And I have 2 master degrees, so I have 2 master theses. It's interesting, you can download it from our website. Anyway, then this is main topic, gamification. What is gamification? You have some ideas when I talk about this gamification. You thought it's a game, like you use game into something, then it's gamification. So yes, and we have the definition just like that. It's the use of game design elements in non-game context. It's given by Professor Dillarding in 2011. This is one of the most, I think, the most famous publication in gamification domain. And this is the definition of gamification used in many papers. All the papers after 2011 they use this concept, this definition. There is really simple. You can use. So there's the question like, what is game design elements? It's not like you think you use some game like a Super Mario or some other game like Tetris things and you put it in somewhere and you get gamification. No, it's like game design elements. Some elements, well actually I'm going to talk about that later. It's not the full game, but some elements. And another definition is a process of enhancing service with affordance with gameful experience in order to support users' overall value creation. It's more complex. It's given by actually my master's thesis supervisor, Professor Homily. This is more kind of a service marketing oriented definition of gamification. It's like how to use gamification in a way of marketing, promoting some products like that way in order to give users overall value creation in such way. But it's not related to game at all, but they emphasize like gameful experience. What is gameful experience? Like from game, you have gameful experience. But based on the other definition, it's like you use game design elements, not a full game. So can game design elements give your gameful experience? That is actually the question, but I don't think most of the gamification project or anything deal with that. I mean, use game design elements to give gameful experience. I will show some examples later. So this is also part of the Professor Dillarding's paper. It's like how to locate this gamification definition in the part of They say like gamification of culture is this playfulness, gamefulness, this whole culture about games and game-related things. So you can see gamification is only part of it, the orange ones, and it's part of use game elements into something. And on the other hand, you see like serious game. Serious game is another concept, like you use the full game as a series, kind of a simulation for something. You will see some examples later, but this is different from gamification, what we are talking about in the academic domain. And also you will see another concept is pervasive game. Pervasive game is like you use some game, like it's pervasive into the reality. It's not only in the magic circle. We talk about the concept of magic circle in game studies. Some game, they have a circle there. You stay in the game. You stay in the circle when you play in the game. But pervasive game is like you play the game outside the circle, so into the reality. So that is also a different concept compared to gamification there. And also playful design is like playfulness instead of gamefulness. That's a whole another story. So here is what I said, like a serious game, pervasive game, playful interaction. I didn't find the definition of playful interaction. They don't give many good definition there, so I just put blank there. You can search in Google Scholar. But these ones is concepts that different from gamification, but related. Somehow in some academic papers, they even get confused, like what is serious game and what is gamification. Some papers say like we do some gamification research and blah blah blah, but they do actually serious game. But that is the problem actually, is like what is actually different? Why we make such difference, like this is serious game and this is gamification, despite like the aim of these two things are actually quite the same. So then we see some examples actually, like based on the definition of gamification gave in the previous papers, like is this gamification? This is one of the mobile app for vocabulary learning. It's called Memorize. You learn some vocabulary, you select some good, right answers, and when you get right, you get some points, and you make the flower growing and make a big flower, and you learn things. So do you think it is gamification? Okay, yes, surely this is a gamification. This is a typical example of a gamification app. And then, what about this one? This is the simulation for kind of hospital operation system. Like you use these to practice operating on the patients in the hospital. Use this software. Do you think this is a gamification? But actually, it is not. It is serious game. It is a full-fledged game instead of game design elements. It's a full game, a simulation for operation in a hospital. So this is typically a serious game instead of gamification. And the next one, this is quite familiar. This is what we use in QQ. It's kind of instant messaging software we use quite often. You have those like crowns, stars, and whatever thing there. And also this part is from one of the forum. You have the badges. You have the points, how many coins you have, how many points you have. Do you think this is gamification? This actually is gamification. Because you use points, badges, leaderboards, like you have the leaderboard like who is the best user of the app or whatever things. This is actually a typical use of game design elements. This is gamification based on the definition we have there. And what about this? This is the FIFA 2016, I think. This is the Ultimate Team game. You play the FIFA like the football game there, and you have like a league, and you have points, and you promote from League 3 maybe to League 2 when you win the game. So do you think this is a gamification?
It's a game.
It's a game. No, it's just a game.
Actually, yes. This is also gamification because this environment is a game, but these elements used there, they use the league. It's a leaderboard, and you have the points. When you win a game, you have 3 points. When you lose, you have 0 points. So it's a game there. It's a even though the context is game, but also this is gamification to gamify the game. So it is gamification. What are these? This is the talking mattress. There you sit there, you can interact with the mattress. The things you sit out there, they make some noise, they interact with you. So what do you think these were?
Yes.
Yes.
Gamification.
This is actually the playful interaction. This is not a game. It's a playful interaction. It enhances the playfulness of people sitting there. So it's a playful interaction. It's not gamification, like technically. So what are these ones? This is like everybody we have, like when we were in middle school or something, we have exams, especially before the National University Entrance exam, we have like different subjects. What do you think this? Is this gamification? But actually this is. Because you have points. And this is a leaderboard. And when you have like two things, for example, in primary school, you earn some little flowers when you do something good. Is that right? That's badges. That's like points, leaderboard, and badges. This is gamification.
So you mean real game is no points?
That is what I'm going to talk about. Like, you can see all these examples. Those are like some examples of gamification, some just not. Why this is gamification? Nothing about game. So that is some conclusion one of the scholar gave. The title is just, gamification is just bullshit. Because there's nothing about game. They use these least essential game design elements like points, badges, leaderboard. What are those? Those not games. Those just something like to motivate people to get into something. And so that is why it's like least essential things about games. So it's just total bullshit. It's kind of the consulting scheme based on this scholar, which I actually quite agree. So then, because gamification is something like that, but there's a lot of scholars studying gamification as a research domain. So what is going on in the research domain of gamification? There's three pillars right now in gamification research domain. It's theory-driven empirical studies, like what is gamification, what kind of framework, how do we use gamification in some domain, something like that. And also design studies is like how to design gamification for some business. For example, how to gamify something. And also the deepen like extension of application in context is like used in different domains. For example, in education, in marketing, in nearly everything. You can see like if exam is also gamification, so you can use it in everywhere. And about these theory-driven empirical studies, there's many papers, especially from my supervisor, Professor Hamley, that does gamification work. Yes, of course it works in a way, like it motivates people, it gives people engagement. So that is how it works, but actually do you think it's a game? No. But anyway, it works. It works in a way to motivate people. And on the other hand, why this works? Because they use some theory from the psychology part, is intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation. It's called SDT, self-determinate theory things. They say like gamification gives intrinsic motivation. I don't see it, but still they say like it's work. And also there's other aspects about these empirical studies, like understanding and predict when and how which particular design will be effective, like does badges effective in some way, does leaderboard effective in some way, why we use points, why we use these, why we use that. So that is how they do research there. And also the effects, like mediators and individual elements, like how to combine different elements, how to do things like why this work, why that work. Yes, this is the empirical study branch of gamification research domain. And the other part is, okay. The other part is just like use gamification in different domains, like education, health, business, HCI, work, sustainable consumption, data gathering, even software engineering. Like use those bullshit stuff like points, badges, leaderboard in different domains. And it works. Of course it works. They publish in the paper. Yes, it works. In a way. Okay, so then this is what I'm going to focus on the gamification design research, like how to design gamification. Even though we use like points, badges, leaderboard, those things, how to design this into actual things like you want to motivate people to use. For example, there are like previous studies about like what kind of framework about designing gamification is different studies. Most of these studies have the similar process. It's more like the waterfall model for software engineering. It's like from the scope and vision of the project to requirements to the design to the implementation to the maintenance, testing, maintenance, something like that. It's most likely the linear process, similar. Most of them do the same. So what I do in my publication is like we use this Go modeling from the software engineering theory. It's like why we use Go modeling? Because they want to motivate people. When they want to motivate people, they have to know like what is the goal of the people, like what they want to achieve. So then you will know like, yeah, I want to motivate you into this goal, so we can just motivate you that way. And because gamification is not some similar software, like for example, some app like WeChat or things, you just work, you use it to work, but it's also a hedonic system. It's meant for playful, like to enjoy this system. So the two parts should be combined in a way like you design not only for the utilitarian part, which is the useful part, but also for the hedonic system part, which is the gameful part. So that is why like both of these parts, we analyze the goals of both parts and combine this together, then create some requirements to design this gamification system. That is what I want to achieve, and I use this GRL, this goal-oriented requirements language, as the goal modeling language to modeling this gamification. Because I have time limit, so I'll just skip that this part because this is really easy. Just like decompose the motivation and decompose the system goals and combine. That's very easy. You have like a big goal, separate into small goals, separate small goals from the hedonic system, combine these goals into feature, then you have your requirements there. And I use this, I give an example of this gamifying a language learning system. Like how to gamify a language learning system here. This is a book I use to reference. They have the 6 strategy of language learning like these. You can find in quick, I'm gonna skip that, time is limited. This is the step 1, you decompose the motivation of connect with affordance. So you wanna achieve this intrinsic motivation as the ultimate goal of gamification system. And you decompose that, which is the sub-goal of intrinsic motivation. You can see the competence, relatedness, autonomy. These things are the contributor of this motivation here, and you just keep decomposing, and you find like, yeah, we can see like titles, badges, avatars, many things like contributes to the intrinsic motivation there. And then similarly, we analyze the system goals, the utilitarian goals, like we want to achieve this communicative competence, which is the language learning system goal there, and decompose based on theory we found like previously. And then we see the features there. We can use like grouping, associating, using imaginary, these kind of features to achieve the ultimate goal of language learning there. And then we just combine things together, like grouping and title. Like grouping, we can use like movie. Movie is a grouping topic for vocabularies, language, grammars, and everything. And we put title. So we have the requirements like the user shall receive a relevant title when finishing learning a word from a movie. For example, you learn all the vocabulary in Titanic, you receive the title of Titanic Sailor or things like that. So that is how you design gamification based on goal modeling and everything. Really easy. 1 minute, oh, cool. Okay, this is what I'm doing for the gamification design research, and we can talk about what is the future. You can see like gamification is not kind of fancy stuff. You can see all the things can be considered as gamification, but none of the cool stuff is gamification actually. Only these boring things. So the future is more like you can One thing is like you can put gamification in everything. You can do research with combination of gamification and anything. Based on your major and gamification, you can create papers like whatever. Doing empirical studies, processing method techniques like using software engineering method or whatever, data analysis, machine learning, yes, why not? AR, VR, pervasiveness, like immersive experience, whatever things, okay. You can do research in all the combinations. And also more importantly, I want to do what I want to do. What I want to do is do gamification into games. Like to use actual games, not only these boring things like bullshitters, like to use it as gamification. So that is the real game experience to motivate people in like anything of the people to motivate them inside of those bullshits. Anyway, those are the references, you can check it out, but thank you very much. Any questions, please? Please.
Could you put the slide? Could you put the slide 22, please?
Okay. Very specific.
No, this one. Sorry, this one.
The last one?
No.
This one?
Yes. Thank
Okay,
you.
cool.
To get the picture. Sorry.
I have a question.
Yes,
so, in reality, is any like successful case what you mentioned, like gamification to game?
Mm-hmm.
Some example to show us, like what exactly you mean gamification?
Yes, I have. That's a very good question. I have imagination about that because when I was doing one of the essay assignments for one of the courses about gamification, I have the idea of use actual games. The previous definition is use game design elements into non-game context. But why not just do like the reverse? Like we put the utilitarian, the useful stuff into a game. For example, use these like GTA 5 or World of Warcraft because it's a huge game world there already, and you can put things there. For example, you want to learn vocabulary, just put some vocabulary features there in the World of Warcraft and learn vocabulary there. Why not? Because maybe there's some business reasons, but I don't see the academic reason. Why not just put things into a game? That is what I mean, like use actual game experience there. And we see the utilitarian stuff. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Okay.
I'm a little have different opinion with you about
Okay.
one picture. Is you ask us whether it's a
which one?
gamification. Let's go forward. Next.
This one.
Next. So this.
Oh,
I
okay.
think it's a game. It's not gamification.
Okay. So
you mean your reason is it is for entertainment, so it's a gamification. But the game is also for entertainment, right?
No, actually, game is for entertainment, but not all the things for entertainment is game.
Yeah.
Because movie is for entertainment.
Yes.
A movie is not
We
game.
are playing a game. It's not.
No, the definition of game requires game to have the ultimate goal. For example, the football is a game because the goal is a result. Like I beat you with like 2-1. That's a result. I want to be the champion of the league.
Goals.
Yes, but these has no goals. You just play with this with your creativity and everything, like playfulness. You play with this with your playful mind. And they have no ultimate goal. You can do this with anything. Playful, like be creative. This is playfulness.
Another thing.
Go ahead.
How about this gamification developed in China? So and so many literatures I think is from abroad. So how is the concept?
Because I only focus on Google Scholar, I didn't see many Chinese scholars in this domain. I've met some scholars from China, like who studied this part, but most of them are from different other domains, like from marketing, from business. They want to use these as a kind of a short part for the business model, for business purposes. But I didn't see, because there are not so many game studies scholars. Because the game industry in China is just a mess. It's totally a mess. I don't want to talk about it. But that is why there are not so many game scholars there, and let alone like gamification scholars. No, they just want these. Oh, this is a cool term, and this is new, and we can publish a paper using this cool term. Yes. Yeah. Well, nothing new is there. Sorry to say that, but it is true. There is not so many innovation in this part in Chinese scholars. If you have some examples, please let me know. I would love to see that. Thank you. Thank you.
I have a question about the rating parts of these services like Didi and Uber. Is it gamification if you have the rating system in these apps?
Yes, actually, sadly, based on the definition and the concept we use quite often in these academic papers, it is. Even the forum is a gamification system. When you have the badges of points, like you post something, you get points, and you can see the leaderboard in this section of the forum is someone, and it is a leaderboard, and it is part of gamification. That is, I think people are studying or doing research about that as gamification. And like you said, in the app, when you have the rating system, and the rating is like, for example, in the Didi course, like when you take some customer, you get some good comments, you have to sign up, so it's the +1, and you have the points, and then you have the leaderboard. This is the best driver there, and this is the second best driver, and you promote this kind of computation in a way, and you have badges, and like best driver in Beijing or things. So it is, in a way, but it is really stubborn kind of definition. Personally, I wanted to just go against this kind of definition, because this is the very definition we use very like publicly there is actually the bottleneck of this research domain. This is only I personally say that, but that is true, because you see everything is gamification now, but nothing is game there. That is the stat for actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another question. So, what do you think the biggest difference between gamification and game?
I think so far the main goal is different, because gamification want to use this gameplay experience to motivate people into something they actually don't like. Like the exams, nobody likes to learn knowledge, especially when they're kids. They use this exam to motivate people to learn and compete in the real world. And especially with actual like extrinsic motivation, for example, the entrance of university, that's the extrinsic motivation. So the exam is the ultimate motivator for kids. That is the difference, because game is purely hedonic system, it's purely for entertainment. I just want to relax, I just want to have the game experience, nothing more.